and I'm going to hand over to Sastri from Inspire Testing. Yeah, so thank you to our host, Inspire Testing.
Hi everybody, my name is Sastri Munsamy. I'm the Executive Head of Technology and Innovation for Inspire Testing. If you can't remember my name, you can call me Sass. If you can't remember that, just think of ass and put an S in front, and you'll forget. Sharp, that's for you. So we pride ourselves on being a very innovative company. And a lot of the times I go around and I meet various people and I try to understand what is their definition of innovation. More often than not is we want to implement test automation because the world's going towards automation. Not to give away my age, and no, my hair is not naturally black. I have to dye it. In 2003, when I started off my career in test automation, we used the same term. The world is going towards test automation. It was very new, it was very scary. For me, choosing that as a field of work was also a big risk. So the point I'm trying to make is that the world's already gone there. It's up to us to now catch up. So in order to do that, we've been focusing on how do we do automation better? How do we improve it? How do we prescribe to the world how to do this? We focus on return on investment. How do we go and automate that to give an instant view of return on investment from automation services? How do we go about creating an effective test data management model? I'll give you an example. So if you had 5 automated scripts and you had to populate data manually before you could execute, sure, it'll take you 30 minutes, populate data, and you're able to execute. A year later, 2 years later, you now have 2,000 scripts. You need to populate data manually before you go and execute. You're never going to get to faster time of market. It's going to take you months before you get to implement this. It's going to take you months before you get to actually execute your tests, so you're not actually realizing the benefits of test automation. So one of the focuses is how do we make testing a lot more effective? What do we do? What are the processes? What are the strategy documents that we need to put in place? How do we educate people? We found that from a manual testing perspective, the world actually wants manual testers to be performing both automation as well as manual testing responsibilities. So we created an automation academy within Inspire Testing, where we've taken seasoned manual testers as well as new manual testers, guys that have no exposure to Java, to Selenium, or any test automation, and we've taken them through programs internally as well as through clients where we've upskilled them. I can tell you now that when we started this, I didn't think it was going to work, and I didn't want to put my name against something that I couldn't guarantee. But running this service, we've actually found that everybody has picked it up. Every single person that was part of this has picked it up. We're not training people, we're mentoring people. So we are focusing on skills development, skills growth, empowering people, giving them the ability to think about how test automation fits into their life, how can it make it easier. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of the guys didn't use it for testing. They used it to automate their admin work, so timesheets and that sort of stuff was where they started. Click of a button and you're sending out reports every day. It was fantastic. So I encourage that sort of thinking. I encourage laziness, because if you're lazy, you're going to do it right the first time, because you don't want to work on it again. Right? Some of the cool things that we looking at from Inspire Testing, from an R&D perspective, there's obviously a big focus on AI, machine learning. We're looking at moving unit testing as a QA function and not a development function. We're looking at stuff like mutation testing. Has anybody ever heard of mutation testing before? Cool. So, that's 2 out of 105. Fantastic. 3, better. Nice. So mutation testing, for those that don't know, it's a means of injecting errors into working code and checking to see that you have the right amount of unit test coverage from a coding perspective. So it flags mutants, it changes a greater than sign to a less than sign, changes boundaries within the code. And then you start writing unit tests to go and cater for those. All of a sudden, your unit tests become your features. They become the requirements. If somebody changes something and it doesn't work the way we initially coded the unit test, it's already flagged. It's an automated process to identify those reasons. To fix it is a coding, scripting type of process. Other things we're looking at is, like I said, is AI, machine learning. This has been a great journey so far. Steve's in the house, you can talk to him as well. He's Steve without the B. He's done a lot of work on AI for us. He's done a lot of proof of concept. He's actually outputted a model that automatically identifies fields on a screen, populates it with a data set, and proceeds to the next screen. I mean, I thought that was a big win for us to get our service out there, which is automated exploratory testing. That's something that we're still working on. It's the dream. We would like testing to be run 24/7. We don't want human dependency. We don't want to trigger scripts. We don't want continuous development. We want to prescribe to the world how you should be doing testing. And we can have an AI automated tester, exploratory tester, that's consistently running. Devs can deploy code at any stage, and this will continue running. I was sharing a story with the guys earlier in terms of my exposure to machine learning. So I played around with ML.NET over the weekend, just to understand what is Microsoft's view and how did they implement it. And I must admit, it was fantastic. Very easy to use, took me about 20 minutes to set up, configure everything, I got it to work. And it was essentially a sentiment analysis AI implementation. So what it would do is it would take a sentence that you pass through it, and it would tell you whether it was toxic or non-toxic. Okay? Fairly simple. So I thought, let me put on my testing hat and see if I could break this. So I started off very, very easy, and I said, okay, I love you. Easy. That's a non-toxic sentiment. And it flagged it as a non-toxic sentiment. Then I changed it, and I said, I hate you. And it told me, okay, this is a toxic sentiment. Fantastic. Awesome. Then I thought, let's change it up a bit. So I thought, let me say, I love all things evil, and flag that as a toxic sentiment. Then I changed it to say, I love all things. And to my surprise, that was deemed a toxic sentiment. It was deemed a toxic sentiment because I led the AI to believe that that was a toxic sentiment. I used the word love and evil together. So, the point I'm trying to make here is, when it comes to AI, machine learning, there is really a very big question that we need to ask, and I am going to be releasing an article on this very, very soon. But with regards to AI, do we test AI or do we train AI? In my view, we have to validate that the training is done correctly. That's the focus on AI. It's impossible to test something that has multiple combinations, multiple ways of implementation, multiple ways of how it interprets things. So yeah, that's some of the things that we're busy with from an inspired testing perspective. I only had 5 minutes to show you or to discuss this with you, but I'm sure that I'll bump into a lot of you over the course of tonight, and we can chat in a lot more detail about this. Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Okay.